Hello everyone, this is Taylor Edrington with Gorge Anglers in Canyon City, Colorado. You can view our website at www.royalgorgeanglers.com or reach us toll free at 888-994-6743. Royal Gorge Anglers is the oldest fly shop and fly fishing guide service on the Arkansas River. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary celebration. It was fantastic. Thanks so much for everyone that made it out on March 21st to celebrate our quarter century anniversary. It's amazing that we've been doing this for 25 years, helping anglers on the Arkansas and other Colorado watersheds, as well as destination travel, you name it. We've had a lot of fun for 25 years, and here's to another 25 years. So thanks so much. We had over 300 people in attendance, 4 kegs drained. It was a great party. Got to cast a lot of nice fly rods and enjoy a lot of product demos streamside and in the fly shop. So we do run that event every year in the spring. So do mark your calendars when that pops up in March for next year. But thanks to all who came out to celebrate with us this year, celebrating 25 years of Royal Gorge Anglers. Straight to fishing. The Arkansas River is extremely productive right now. I mean, all eyes are on blue-winged olives right now, basically. The entire life cycle is extremely productive. We've seen a major change in the last 5 to 6 days in that we are seeing adult blue-winged olive hatches consistently every day, no matter what, just due to water temperature being where it needs to be. Bluebird day, overcast day, doesn't really matter. We're seeing plenty of blue-winged olives hatching in the afternoons. Up and down Bighorn Sheep Canyon in Canyon City. Obviously, overcast days will facilitate much stronger hatches. You can see very prolific hatches on overcast days, which we've got quite a few of those coming up this week. And actually, 65 to 70 degree daytime highs through the week. I think 75 degrees today on March 30th. Is the expected high in Canyon City. Unbelievable warm temperatures here in the spring. But it is typical to see temperatures like that. Let's touch briefly on what flows are doing on the Arkansas. We are still in the spring flow management program, which dedicates a goal of 250 to 400 CFS as an overall flow on the Arkansas at Wellsville, due to the fact that we do have brown trout fry emergence as well as our rainbow trout population spawning. So that goal of 250 to 400 CFS is our spring flow management program. We are holding right at 400 CFS. What we forecast, at least here, is that potentially could decrease based on snowpack holding right at the 90% range of average. Potentially could decrease a touch, that snowpack, in this upcoming week. However, there are some potential high mountain storms rolling through that could add a little bit of snowpack, which in turn would hold flows at about 400 CFS, potentially raise them 25 to 50 CFS. Long story short, flows are going to be 350 to 450 most likely through the month of April, which is low, but where we want it for brown trout fry emergence and rainbow trout spawning. It also is extremely conducive for really, really strong hatches. Last year we had extremely high snowpack and we had to run a little bit more water down the hill through the spring months, which did, I don't know, hurt the caddis hatch, but made the caddis hatch fairly inconsistent. We had some great days last year, but this year flows are going to be steady in that 350 to 450 range, which means water temperatures will warm faster, and we've already seen 55-degree water temperatures, which is where we need water temperatures to be for strong caddis activity. We need that to hold in the 55-degree water temp area for more than a week, and we will start to see some caddis activity potentially. We expect to potentially see caddis begin to hatch, most likely, around the 10th of April in Canyon City. We've already seen caddis cases close, which means we're not far away. Could be 10 days, could be 2 weeks. Typically, we always see caddis by the 13th of April in Canyon City, and then see the hatch move progressively up the river. What we will see this year, because of those steady flows in the 350 to 450 CFS range and warmer water temps, is potentially we will see the hatch move a little bit faster up the river, leaving it more and more consistent in Bighorn Sheep Canyon and a little bit easier to hit as far as the adult activity is concerned. Subsurface caddis activity will be extremely strong, and we've already seen, a lot of productivity on caddis larvae, but not so much focused on the Brachycentrus occidentalis, the Mother's Day caddis, which is actually the tax day caddis. Again, April 15th is typically when the hatch begins, and it runs through the last 2 weeks of April and first 2 weeks of May. If you wait until Mother's Day, you're most likely going to miss the hatch, just because we tend to see some colder runoff style conditions on the Arkansas, not making it necessarily unfishable, but the water temperature's colder around May 15th, May 20th, which will kind of beat down the caddis hatch, so to speak. Don't wait. Long story short, if you want to fish caddis, last 2 weeks of April, first week of May would be my suggestion. We do have some dates still available in the guide service if you want to get out here and experience the caddis hatch at its best. So as for now, let's focus on blue-winged olives and the life cycle of the blue-winged olive. Fishing a lot of dries, like I said, in the afternoons. Typically, once water temperature reaches that 53 to 55 degree range, we start to see adults on the water, which means emergent activity before that for the couple hours before you start to see bugs. And you can fish emergers deep, you can fish them mid-water column, you can fish them in the subsurface film. If you just see fishes, the dorsal fin of the trout, and not the fish coming completely or taking an adult completely on the surface, fishing that emerger in the subsurface film. That's a great method, especially on brighter days, because some of those emergers get caught in the subsurface film. So emergers are key throughout the water column. Fishing a lot of blue-winged olive nymphs early in the day, and really throughout the day if you want to continue nymphing. Also accompanying blue-winged olive nymphs with caddis larvae and continuing to fish stoneflies heavily. There are some stoneflies still molting. We're kind of at the end of that phase, but still fishing lighter colored stoneflies in the morning, darker in the afternoon. And then obviously your adults, size 18 to 20, fishing those mostly in the afternoon. But like I said, on overcast days, which we've got quite a few coming this week in the first week of April, expect good blue-winged olive hatch activity really throughout the day on those overcast days. Let's look at a few patterns. First, starting with, like I said, one of my key life cycle stages, the emerger. Like I said, fish this deep, mid-water column, in the surface film, you know. Number one, the batwing emerger. Batwing emerger's a mainstay pattern on this river. Fishes extremely well. The WD-50, other fantastic pattern. Great kind of flashback, a little bit slimmer profile. So that's the WD-50. Let's look at one more fantastic emerger, if I can find it here, and that is the Spotlight emerger, which is actually more of a dry emerger, but fishes really well when, like I said, when emergers get kind of trapped in that surface film and fish are just eating in the surface film. It is a parachute, so you can pick it out, you can fish it on its own, but it does sit down in the water column a little bit. Let's look at some dries for your BWOs. Quigley's Split Flag, one of my go-to dries on this river. It's a real slight profile, really easy to see in low light conditions. Bob Quigley's Film Critic, another great BWO, size 18 or 20. And then two that are just really mainstays on this river that we fish really hard on this river that are, again, slight profile flies. Sometimes flies you need to run behind a caddis dry. They're a little bit more difficult to see, but one being the lowrider bluing, the lowrider betas, size 18 to 20 again. And also your glass bead, one I didn't touch on, sorry, going back, glass bead emerger, great subsurface film pattern to fish kind of as a dry emerger. And then your last dry that I'd like to cover is the Wild Turkey betas, Larry Kingree's. Again, a little bit harder to see, but a great hatch matcher. Maybe run it behind an attractor, Royal Wolf, Humpy, something like that, or a caddis. Let's go to nymphing. Top fly, if you're running an indicator rig, going to be a stonefly still. Still highly recommend stoneflies. Let's look at a little bit lighter for in the morning. A couple lighter patterns, one being the tungstone, fantastic fly. One being the Biot epoxy stone. And I've been fishing these in a size, 12 to 16. And one more lighter colored, the Poxy Back Hare's Ear. Great fly. Flashback Poxy Back. Darker stoneflies to fish in the afternoon typically, if you continue nymphing through the afternoon. One that I really like, a newer pattern called the Micro Stone. Just moves a lot, slight profile, really nice attractor. One kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum, a little bit thicker profile, is the Hot Bead Prince Nymph. Really a great Prince Nymph representation. That hot bead fishes really well here. Let's look at a fly to throw in the middle. Typically our guides are running triple nymph rigs until they understand what fish are on in specific areas. But we are focusing on caddis larvae in the middle. If you find caddis larvae work better than the stone and you're comfortable with two flies only, run a caddis larva BWO nymph. Pretty much always keeping the blue-winged olive nymph on. Chartreuse copperjohn. And like I said, there's a lot of free swimming caddis in the river, so I'm fishing that in a size 14, pretty big one. Sometimes a 16. Like to have both those sizes on hand. John Barr's new hair copper in the chartreuse wire body. Great caddis larva representation. And then Larry Kingree's metallic larva, which has been around for a long time, has really begun to turn on here in the last 2 or 3 days. So, and then one last is the thin skin larva. That's a great, real great natural imitation caddis larva. Okay, now let's look at three really strong, actually four really strong blue-winged olive nymph representations. Number one, and one of my greatest producers in size 18 or 20, the CDC pheasant tail. Great fly. Another fantastic producer this whole last week was the anatome. Really buggy with these little legs, and just a great producer in an 18 or 20. One of my favorite flies, tungsten bead bars emerger. Okay. Great standby fly that works pretty much anywhere. And then a specialty fly that, you know, from Umpqua designer Shay Gunkel, the radiation Baetis in a peacock color. Great fly, great segmentation on the body. So we've covered dries, emergers, nymphing. How about streamers? I really love to fish streamers starting about April 1. Water temperatures are where they need to be for fish to be, you know, really chase prone and aggressive. And we've seen fish really turn on streamers in the last 3 to 4 days, and we expect that to really continue with these warm days ahead. You know, so really go out there with some streamers and have fun with that. A couple new patterns that I'd like to spotlight that have fished really well for me. And you know, when I go out, I pretty much fish streamers exclusively or dries, but definitely give it a shot next time you're at the Ark. The Baby Gonga from Charlie Craven in black and in tan. I love these patterns and colors. Okay, that is a jointed fly, has 2 hooks. Okay, the pigpen leech in olive with that burnt orange tail, and then you can't really go wrong with the dark olive slump buster, size 8. So we've covered a lot of patterns there, but like I said, give us a call if you have any questions about flies. Obviously, we'd love you to stop in and take a look at patterns with us. We've got over 1,600 patterns here in the fly shop. Many custom flies that we actually tie here locally. We tie about 5,000 dozen here locally throughout the year. So come in and discuss flies with us. You know, if you have any questions, give us a call toll free, 888-994-6743. Like I said, we do have some availability in April, which is one of the most prolific fishing months of the year on the Arkansas. So if you are interested in learning the river a little bit better, or just, you know, having a fantastic day on the water, you know, give us a call. Thanks so much. Have a great day.